Oh, beautiful. It worked. It didn't. Sometimes when I like start it and the SD card's almost full, it'll like all of a sudden decide that the audio and the video is going to be off. So if the time doesn't start right away, I have to like do it a million times. But we're good. So, all right, 1.3. You should have taken notes on that Tuesday night. So, what was the very last thing I said at the end of that video? Checking is not optional. If the problem says you have to check it, it's not optional. That's part of the showing your work for those problems. All right, so let's just go ahead and jump into some of these problems. So we'll start with 3 through 18. It's a variable on one side. It says to solve the equation and check your solution. So start with an easy one. We'll start with 4. So this one is y minus 4 is equal to 7. So how do I solve for a variable? Yes. Add 4 to both sides. Okay, so y is equal to 11. Okay, so then the check part of it, okay, you plug that back in. So you say 11 minus 4 is equal to 7. You leave the 7 alone on the right-hand side, and then you need to show that 7 is equal to 7. Okay? So the first step of checking is to plug it in. Okay, then the next part is to show it's true. Okay, with these ones, it probably will only take one step, but with the next section of them, it will probably take more than that because you have variables on both sides. Do what? No, I was just so you can see like visually what you need to do and what I expect out of it when you're showing your work. Also, as a general rule, write the problem statement down unless it's like a word problem. If it's a word problem, you don't have to write the problem statement. But like number 4, you need to write it like I am, like with the number and then the problem and then solve it. Okay. That's something I'm starting to see as I'm checking your homework and stuff, is that we're not all doing that. And that just helps me so I can go back and see, like, oh, maybe you just copied the problem down wrong or something like that. So make sure you're doing that. All right. Number 8. 4 is equal to 2/5 g. How do I get that variable by itself? So multiply by what? Okay, so I can either divide by 2/5 or I can multiply by 5/2, okay, because I need to flip it. When you divide by a fraction, you have to flip it. Well, you can say it either way, because what I'm technically doing is I'm taking 4 and multiplying it by 5, and then I'm dividing it by 2. When you are in Algebra 1, you probably were supposed to do that in 2 steps. Now you get to do it in 1. Yes. Yes. And then Monday will be a review for the quiz. You can do it in 2 steps if you prefer. It's up to you. With fractions, I'm just so used to just flipping them that I just do it in 1. So then, what is this equal to? 10. So then, check. Also, you need to write the word check so I know that that's what you're doing. So then, 4 is equal to 2/5 times 10. It's a weird 2. And we leave the left side alone, so 4 is equal to 2 times 10 is 20 divided by 5 is 4. So 4 is equal to 4, and then just put a check mark to show that it is true. All right. Yes. If you watch the video, you know that checking is not optional. So 12, 4n minus 10 is equal to 12. How do I get the variable by itself for this one? Yes. Yep, add 10 to both sides and then divide. So 4n is equal to 22. And then n is equal to 22 over 4. Yes, you can do it. You can do it this way. But what I'll tell you is when you go to actually plug it back in, I would use your fraction. And here's why. When I go to check it, 4 times 22 over 4 minus 10 is equal to 12. The 4's are going to cancel top and bottom, so you're just left with 22 minus 10 is equal to 12, and then 12 is equal to 12, so it's correct. So yes, the decimal answer is the way the book is going to write it, but I would recommend using the fraction answer, especially with something like this where it's going to cancel. Does that make sense? Yes, because I'm fine with improper fractions. Technically, you can reduce that, I know, but for the sake of plugging it back in, okay. Now, I'll take the decimal answer, and if that's what you want to plug in, that's fine. I'm just trying to make your life easier in terms of when you plug it back in to be able to check it. Because you wouldn't have a calculator on a test for this, so you would have to be able to do that in your head. So that's why I'm trying to show you the easy way to do it. All right, any questions about the ones with the variable on one side? All right, so we're moving down to the ones with variables on both sides. So 22. 6x plus 7 is equal to 2x plus 59. All right, so I have a variable on both sides now, so I want to get the variables on one side and the numbers on another. So how would I do that? Okay, subtract 2x from both sides. So that leaves me with 4x, whoa, not 49. 4x plus 7 is equal to 59. Yep, I can move the 7 over, so 4x is equal to 52. And then x is equal to what? Yes, x is equal to 13. So you're going to check. Do what? Yes. So to check it, you always plug it back into the original problem. So this one's going to be 6 times 13 plus 7 is equal to 2 times 13 plus 59. And you keep everything on its side, so you're not moving anything over when you're checking it. So what's 6 times 13? 78 plus 7 is equal to 2 times 13 plus 59. And then are these two equal? 85 is equal to 85, and we're done. All right. Let's do 28. 5m minus 2 is equal to negative m minus 2. Yes. Add m to both sides. So that gives me 6m minus 2 is equal to negative 2. Now what? Add 2. You have to show your steps. So that's 0. Then what? So m is equal to 0. Now I have to plug it back in. So I have 5 times 0 minus 2 is equal to negative Now m is 0, so obviously I know 0 is not negative, but I'm just plugging it in as is. Minus 2, that's 0, so I end up with negative 2 is equal to negative 2, and I'm done. All right, do we feel like we need to see another one, or we feel okay on that stuff? Okay. I don't remember what time this class ends on. Make sure I leave time for you guys to do your work. All right, so we're going to do a couple, we might just do one depending on how you guys feel about it, but we can do two if need be. We're going to do some dealing with the distributive property now. Same thing, solve and check. We'll start with a harder one. 38. 7 times t minus 3 is equal to 2 times t minus 9 plus 2t. Distribute first, so what does that give me on the left side? 7t minus 21 is equal to, how about the right side? 2t minus 18 plus 2t. No, so you need to show the distributive first, and then you can combine like terms of the next step. Oh, yes. All right, so what does that give me then on the right side? Also, once you get here, if you want to move everything in one step, that's fine. Okay, so if you want to go ahead and move your t's over and then move your numbers over at the same time, just make sure you don't get confused and like drop it. But usually, since I'm moving something to the left and then something else to the right, I'll just go ahead and do it as one step. So, what does that give me? 3t is equal to 3. So I have a little like curly tail on mine, kind of. All right, then t is equal to 1, and then we check. Okay, so I have 7 times 1 minus 3 is equal to 2 times 1 minus 9 plus 2 times 1. Can't see that with the number. Okay, so you do need to, I'm going to bring it down this way. You do need to write in the ones, okay, because even though that's just 2 times 1, because you need to show that you're plugging it back in everywhere. Okay, so what does this give me on the left? Do what's in the parentheses first now. There's no variables, so you don't have to distribute. No, -2, sorry. 7 times -2, and then on the right side, 2 times what? Okay, so then on the left side, what is that equal to? -14, and then you can go ahead and do this all in one step here. -16 plus 2 is -14. Okay, once you're just combining stuff like this, you can go ahead and do it in one. So then we're good on that one. Do we need to do another distributive one? We're good? Okay. How much do you guys hate fractions? All right. Do you want me to teach you a trick to get rid of fractions so you don't have to deal with them? All right. Problem 44. One-fifth d plus 1/8 d is equal to 2. All right. So if y'all were to start this problem before I tell you the trick, how would you go about doing that? You'd have to make the bottom the same. What number would you use to do that? 40. Okay. So the trick is, can multiply the whole equation by 40. Okay, both sides. This leaves me with 8d. Over here, then I'm left with 5d is equal to 80. Now I can combine like terms, so that gives me 13D is equal to 80. And then we're just going to have an improper fraction, and we're just going to leave it that way. Okay, your book writes it as a mixed number, but we're just going to leave it as an improper fraction. The only ones that I'm going to make an exception for that you don't have to check are these fraction ones. Okay? You do not have to check the fraction ones. Okay, but you do on all the other ones. Now, because we have this, it would be relatively easy to check, okay, because 5 would go into 80 easily, so that would cancel down. And then 8 goes into 80 easily, but because of having the denominator and everything, just trying to make your life a little bit easier so you don't have to deal with that. So you do not have to check the fraction ones. Do you want to do another fraction one? Feel good? Ready to work on problems? Okay. You can also do these with decimals, but I'm not going to like wear out everything. I feel like if you can do them with regular numbers, you can probably do the decimal one too. So, your homework, in classwork I should say, let's see. Nine, 13, 23, 31, 35, 39, and 45. Okay, so this 45 is the one that you don't have to check. Okay, but the other ones you do. Okay, so make sure you write the problem statement down from the book, and then you have to show work. Okay, it's not optional for this. Okay, you have to show the work for actually solving it, and then you have to show it for checking it as well. Okay? Yes, 21 and 22. Any questions? Good? All right.